Welcome to I Want That, which is a podcast that focuses on the dynamic world of Disney merch. I'm entertainment writer Jim Hill.
And I am blogger, podcaster, and designer Michelle Valladolid.
And Michelle and I are recording this episode on Sunday, April 14th, 2019, which is Palm Sunday. And since we were a week out from Easter, I thought we might talk about how the Walt Disney Company has repeatedly tried to turn Easter into another Christmas or Halloween at their parks and resorts, meaning a holiday that you can celebrate for weeks, if not months, out ahead of the actual date of that holiday. And
I'm looking forward to Disney's Snake Whacking Day.
that's Weird Al, right?
No, Simpsons.
I'm sorry that I'm kind of embarrassed because you say I
Don't be.
immediately thought it's Weasel Stomping Day for
It's
Weird
Weasel
Al.
Stomping Day. That's right. See, you know your stuff.
Yes, again, I gotta refresh the Simpsons part of my brain.
Yeah. Well, you'll be able to on Disney Plus.
This is true. Okay,
But Easter.
now to get back to Easter, that the problem with Easter is it doesn't have an actual fixed date on the calendar, like December 25th for Christmas or October 31st for Halloween.
Right.
And that's largely because of the whole Easter must be celebrated after Passover, and because Passover is celebrated on the first full moon after the vernal equinox, and because the vernal equinox only occurs on that day when the sun shines directly on the equator, which means on that date, typically March 21st, we get equal amounts of sunshine and darkness. Because of all this lunar solar factors that go into determining when Easter is annually, Easter can slide all over the calendar. I mean, it can be as early as March 22nd or as late as April 25th. And this year it's kind of at the far end of that lunar solar cycle, April 21st. You guys doing anything special or?
I'm going to give Alice her traditional Easter breakfast of a big basket of candy.
Okay.
And of course, we're going to Mass.
Okay. Getting back to Easter, those wide range of dates for Easter can really trip you up if you're somebody who's running a theme park. And this is why Walt Disney World opted to go with a spring-based event. The Epcot's International Flower and Garden Festival, which this year runs March 6th through June 3rd, 12 weeks long, rather than try and tie a seasonal celebration at that resort back to Easter. And
I'm actually waiting for the time that Flower and Garden ends the day before Food and Wine begins, because it's starting to do that.
if you factor in what just happened with the International Festival of the Arts, which happened in the January chunk, there was some talk a few years back of a festival that would be basically based in Future World.
Oh, yeah. I heard you and Len talking about it.
Yes, I want to say that the idea was they were going to bring back BattleBots and the high school teams were going to compete. And
Oh, God, Rebecca Mosley will be so happy. But I was going to ask you something that just popped into my head. Do you remember when Alice was a baby and we went to Epcot and they had the International Doll and Teddy Bear Festival?
yeah, I do recall that. I think we wound up with a teddy bear out of that thing. They were trying a bunch of things. In fact, getting back to the science festival, in fact, I guess one of the reasons they were looking to do that is they were going to take part of, and I'm dating myself because I always call it Communicore. It's only
So
been
do
called
I.
Intervention since 1994.
Don't care.
But they at one point they were going to have the BattleBots set up inside of Communicore. Or rather, they're going to have the exhibits for the science competition thing. And I think there was one iteration where BattleBots was fought outside, which obviously the Spaceship Earth thing in the background, reminding you really should book a vacation. And just for some reason, this never got off the ground. And then, of course, we now have what's about to happen with Communicore interventions. All that stuff's getting torn down to create sort of that lush green space, that supersized fountain that's now going to stretch all the way to World Showcase Lagoon, and plus a whole bunch of brand new outdoor kitchens, just like the ones you find around World Showcase Lagoon. But sliding back to Easter. Easter has always been on Disney's radar. In fact, Michael Eisner came through the door at Disney in September of 1984, and one of the very first live broadcasts that he greenlit was the very first broadcast on ABC of the Walt Disney World Easter Parade. And, that continued till 1999.
That was great. I loved that. Living in Hawaii, it was so nice.
I always felt bad for what were the daughters of, the Confederacy or whatever it was, the ones who wore the giant dresses with the hats?
Yeah, they had nothing to do with the Confederacy.
Well, I mean, but you get what I'm saying. They all
Yeah.
wore the Scarlet O'Hara dress, the Scarlet O'Hara
Right. The Southern
hat,
Bells.
the Southern Bells, but they weren't Disney. They were some group that came in and marched every year, and it just looked like that would be hard to wear just standing there, but to walk through an entire theme park in late winter, early spring, just didn't look like fun. But what does look like fun, though, is what Tokyo Disney does with Easter.
Right? They go insane.
Well, yeah, but
And they don't even care what day Easter is. It's like March to June. Okay.
Yeah, that's it exactly. I mean, over there, it's just sort of like, it's Easter is when we say it is. Because they don't really celebrate the holiday, they can kind of play fast and loose with the whole thing. And Alice kind of clued me into some of the stuff they do. And take, for example, they have that Easter egg hunt that they run around Tokyo Disney Seas, where folks work off of a special map, and you're supposed to find Disney characters. And if you complete the map, you then get your very own special hair clip that has a Easter bunny ears on it.
It does. It's really cute.
I'm kind of intrigued that idea has come. Let's see, is this west? It's got to be west, right? Or east?
West.
You just keep going, and eventually it's Florida.
Either way, if you keep going.
So
even say
Epcot
south.
has, what is it called? The Extravaganza?
Extravaganza.
Ugh, all
Get
right.
it? Get it?
Yes, yes. This is very much a dad joke. Okay. All right. So as I understand it, you pay $6.99 for a map. They're available at Disney Traders, Pin Central, and the Port of Entry store. You then walk around Future World and World Showcase Lagoon, and you're looking for, 12 character eggs that are hidden in various lands, that sort of thing. And then when you're done, you put your little stickers in the map. You bring the map back to the Disney Traders, and you're then allowed to take part in an egg scramble, which I guess is they have these Disney character eggs that you reach in and you randomly pull one out, and each of them has a prize inside. I mean, for example, the Briar Rose one has a lovely magnet of the Sleeping Beauty character. The Minnie Mouse one has a sticker inside.
It used to be until recent years.
Yep.
You got a special pin for doing that at Disneyland. I'm not sure what they did at Walt Disney World.
I believe the phrase you're looking for is price point.
Yeah, because it was like $17.99 or something like that back then.
Yeah, because we're talking stateside. Extravaganza, at least the 2019 edition, started on April 5th, runs through the 21st, Easter Sunday. However, we've been told by the folks at Disney Merch that this is a supplies is limited situation, and that when they sell out of these maps, that's the last of them. On the other hand, if you're like me and you view walking around Epcot as, just this side of torture, evidently the folks at Disney Traders even if you just have one or two stickers on your map, they will allow you to take part in the egg scramble and get your prize.
Because it's not a pin anymore.
Well,
you don't have to put effort in.
Okay.
Oh, walk around Epcot is heaven for me. I can't believe it's hell for you.
Sorry, I'm old. I remember,
I'm old too.
Yeah, but I sat as a small boy in front of a black and white television and watched a man stand in front of a map with a pointer and talk about a futuristic city. Not a theme park, but hey, that's just me.
My friend Dave feels the same way. He doesn't even want to come visit.
Oh, okay.
Because it didn't turn out to be the city. He's still so mad about it. Isn't that crazy?
You gotta let go at some point. I'm planning in my late 70s.
Speaking of crazy, did you see the Easter mascot at Tokyo Disneyland?
Yeah, we're about to get to those. The Usatama? That's the one?
Usatama.
At Tokyo Disney.
Usagi is rabbit and Tamago is egg.
Okay, so
So
which
it's a rabbit
explains
egg.
yes, and these characters have been in that park for Easter since 2017. In fact, they have a whole parade built around them, right?
With the characters trying to catch them.
Yeah,
Because they are little brats, they are. They are very mischievous.
so that's in Tokyo Disneyland.
Correct.
And but across the way in Tokyo Disney Seas, we have the Usapio. Am I saying that right?
Usapio. Usa
Usapio.
for usagi, rabbit. Pio
Right.
because in Japan, chicks don't say chirp chirp, they say pio pio.
You just said the magic word chicks. These are little yellow, well, not little, they're walk around characters. They're
They
yellow
look like
chicks.
they could be related to Orange Bird. Because look at their heads.
This is true. But the thing is, on top of their heads, they have a little chunk of shell, and they also, just like the Usatama, they have white rabbit ears sticking up.
Yeah, when Alice and I first saw them, we thought that it was the Usatama that had hatched, but Tokyo Disney says nope. And their
So,
personalities are different, aren't they?
well, yes, the Usatama are mischievous, and the Usapio are supposed to be innocent and cute.
Just like you.
Well, I can't check any of those boxes. Now, speaking of boxes, people are filling up boxes with merch. The Usatama and the Usapiu.
Oh, it's crazy. They've got multicolored keychains, they've got plush, they've got the parade is themed around them, and so they have some cute mini parade vehicles and stuff. They've got special meals because it's all about food, with featuring the characters, and
Okay.
just a baseball cap you can wear that has rabbit ears on it. That's adorable.
Okay.
Just the merchandise is fantastic.
Now, Alice was showing me some of the pieces that are a little strange, like the Usatama backpack. It's a Mickey-esque figure in that it's an egg, but it's got the jet black arms that end in
And
the
the gloves and the shoes.
white finger, the three finger gloves, and the yellow Mickey shoes. But again, the idea is that the egg is holding onto you and you're carrying it around the park, which I thought was cool. Was there anything else that if somebody were over there, they should be eyeballing, looking out for?
There's a new Oswald
Oh,
for Easter, and he's adorable.
okay.
The Japanese, about 3 years ago, went crazy insane for Oswald, and there was Oswald everything. Noah and his collection. I mean, he's got the sleeping baby Oswald, and he's got the tissue holder. And yeah, I mean, there's just a million. But this year, only one.
Okay. Well, at some point, we're going to have to bring Noah on the show because I don't want him to talk about the Disney Oswald stuff that came obviously on the heels of, Disney making the deal to trade Al Michaels for Oswald. I want him to talk about, wasn't it like just a year before that Universal started doing Oswald stuff for the Universal Studios Japan?
Well,
In
no,
fact,
it was for the machines, the gachapon type UFO machines. Tomy.
okay.
Noah has some really great stuff, but Oswald is blue and yellow.
Okay.
There's also a red one out there somewhere. I don't know. Noah, do you have the red one? No, he's only seen a picture of it.
Okay. But again, Japan just does wonderful, wonderful, elaborate stuff for Easter. And I guess if we go all the way back to 1956, where the very first Easter at Disneyland Park, and this is, in Walt's mind, the extension of the miniature train set that he had at his Homeby Kills home.
Right.
And so it's all about transportation with Walt. It's all about cool vehicles. So what does he do for the first Easter at Disneyland? He extends an invitation to the auto restoration groups out in Southern California and invites them to bring their horseless carriages to Disneyland. And what they do is they have them parade up and down Main Street, USA, with folks wearing period costumes that Disney Studios had been nice enough to provide. And it was this lovely moment. And it was so successful, they repeated it in 57. They
Mm-hmm.
were going to do it in 58, but evidently they had a very, very wet weekend. And since a lot of these
Oh,
old cars don't have roofs,
right.
they ended up scrubbing the event. But the very next year, it's Sunday, March 29th, is when Easter is going to be held. And you have to understand that just 12 weeks from now, Disneyland's going to open its newly enhanced, greatly expanded Tomorrowland with the submarine voyage
Right.
and the Matterhorn
Right.
bobsleds. And so here's Tommy Walker. He's the head of entertainment for the park. And he goes to Walt, it's like, look, I know you like the horseless carriages, but we're about to open this brand new futuristic section of the park. Shouldn't we just sort of as a prelude, kind of as a tease, do something futuristic based? And Walt's like, yeah, Walt kind of sees the idea. And it's like, but it's Easter. How are we going to do anything futuristic for Easter? And he's like, I got it. Tommy, picture this, Walt. Rent a helicopter. We put a guy in an Easter bunny outfit. And what he's going to do is we're going to fly the helicopter low over Main Street, USA, and he's going to go throw flowers, Easter lilies, or
Okay.
whatever, out
Yeah.
the window to the people on the street below. And Walt's like, yeah, okay, we could do that. So that's what they do. They
I
rent
sense a Jim Hill story coming.
the thing is, we were talking about the WKRP connection, where I'm sorry, given what happens next, I'm totally convinced that at some point, one of the writers or somebody who worked on WKRP heard this story, that somebody had to have worked at Disney and shared it with Hugh Wilson and the folks who worked at MTM, because Les Nessman at the mall, turkeys plummeting out of the sky.
So what happened?
They eventually settled on, okay, what flowers are we throwing out? And they said, okay, let's do orchids. And they picked these lovely white and purple orchids. But the fear was that because of the downdraft of the helicopter, that these really fragile flowers would just come apart in the air. And so it's like, well, what can we do about that? It's like, well, why don't we freeze them? And it's like, that way they'll have some rigidity, they'll have some structure, and
Some weight?
yeah, some weight. There we go. So this is what happened. So they again,
As God is my witness, I thought frozen orchids could fly.
yeah. This is what happens. They fly low over Main Street and they start dropping these frozen orchids out of the plane that are driven down by the downdraft. That actually, as Michelle just suggested, have some real heft to them, and people are trying to catch them and like, ow, ooh, ow.
Oh, no. Were there any concussions?
Actually, I don't know from the orchids, but now on the other hand, this is a helicopter flying low over Main Street, USA. And so, of course, and this is a special occasion. So everybody who's working in the stores opens their doors to look out at the Easter Bunny and the helicopter and the lovely display of the orchids coming down. And as it flies low over Main Street, this cyclonic wind begins to blow into all of the stores.
We'd see that when we drove through Pendleton, because we lived down south in San Diego, and they'd be doing war games or whatever, and one of those things would be hovering low, and it was like a tornado around it.
So you have all of this wind blowing into shops, knocking over merch. This is back in the days when 90% of the people who have shops on Main Street, USA are lessees. So they've got
The
broken
Upjohn
merch.
bottles crash.
Oh, yeah, leeches everywhere. So what? So they turned to Disney theme park managers and they're like, hey.
Was Erebus Brothers there yet?
God, I hope not.
Oh, man, that's awful. I shouldn't laugh.
I'm pleased to report at least that Walt had a sense of humor about this whole thing, that actually he thought it was hilarious. And going forward, so they covered all the damages and Tommy kept his job. But going forward, anytime that anybody at Disney tried to talk Walt into doing something new just for the sake of doing something new, he's like, let me tell you a story about a helicopter and a guy in an Easter bunny suit. Anyway, speaking of bunnies, once Michelle and I get back from this commercial break, we're going to enter the rapid fire section of this special Easter edition of I Want That.
This episode is brought to you by Paramount Plus. Paramount Plus has movies. So many movies. The movies you've seen 1,000 times and could watch 1,000 more. Iconic movies your friends can't believe you haven't seen. New movies, classic movies, new takes on classic movies. So whether you're into Top Gun or The Naked Gun, Mean Girls or Mission Impossible, Smurfs or Sonic the Hedgehog, there's a mountain of movies to discover on Paramount Plus. Start streaming today.
Ugh, the sick day struggle is real. But with Dimetapp, it doesn't have to be. Children's Dimetapp works quickly to soothe multiple bothersome cough, cold, and allergy symptoms in a single dose. Our fast-acting formulas are designed with kids in mind, so they get everything they need and nothing they don't. Available in liquid and on-the-go chewable tablets. Tap the banner now to shop at Amazon and say goodbye to the sick day struggle with Dimetapp. Use as directed.
Before we get started here, you have a couple of things you would like to talk about, and obviously we're recording this on the very same weekend that the Star Wars celebration is going on in Chicago, and I guess you were talking about the Rise of Skywalker packaging?
The packaging for the toys and merchandise.
Mm-hmm.
Someone sent me a preview of it,
Mm-hmm.
a press person. It's really nice. It echoes the last two sets of packaging. It's white with the white stripes or black with the red stripes.
Mm-hmm.
But the character is Kylo Ren again.
Oh.
And this time with his newly patched helmet.
Okay.
I hope that didn't spoil anything for you, but you're going to see it.
All right, very cool.
Really, really badass.
All right. Now, bearing the needle in the other direction, not necessarily badass, but still fun. What is this Disney Emoji Blitz?
Yes, I've been playing this game for like 5 years on and off now.
Mm-hmm.
And they're doing an Easter spectacular.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to have rabbit characters and special things where you find eggs.
Very cool. And this is inspired by the Zum Zums, is that correct? Or...
Yeah. Disney Emoji Blitz is inspired by the Tsum Tsums.
Mm-hmm.
Not the Simpsons, the Tsum Tsums. Tsum.
Ooh, I want a Simpson Tsum Tsum.
Actually, I think they have them, but they're not Tsum Tsums because that's Disney. I'm sure they will be Disney ones, but I've seen knockoff ones at Universal.
Okay, well, I'm sure that they can't hold a candle to the other ones. And speaking of candles, hey,
yes,
all right,
we got another box of Magic Mail
mm-hmm.
from Circa 55 Candles by Lex Illume,
mm-hmm.
and really, really nice box, Jungle Cruise. Oh wait, no, you got that one already, didn't you?
Yes.
You like the smell of the candles, right?
I did, and more to the point, I was more impressed with. I mean, don't get me wrong, with the lovely presentation, great smells, but the packaging, the theming is crazy detailed.
Yeah, the people in charge, they're like Disney maniacs, so you can really tell, and the attention to detail and their knowledge of things, it's just incredible.
And speaking of Disney fanatics, we had a lot of folks respond with much enthusiasm to the contest. The giveaway, there we go, that we set up on our last show. The Nice Folks Cake Signature, they're the folks who have the exclusive license with Disney to create those in the book line that inserts the reader into the adventure. Anyway, they've given us a number of these beautiful hand-bound books to give away as part of this podcast, and this time around, this week's randomly chosen winner is...
Taylor Basabe. I hope I said that right.
Okay.
I can't even say my name right sometimes.
Okay. Now, Taylor, we're going to be reaching out shortly to find out whose name you'd like to have appear in this book. Likewise, which Disney or Pixar themed book you'd like to have the folks at Signature personalize for you. And thanks to all of you who entered. And speaking of which, we're offering another in the book personalized volume to a lucky I Want That listener today as part of today's show. So just send a message along to contest@jimhillmedia.com, and Michelle and I will randomly select another winner from this week's pile of entries. And speaking of books, and now getting back to talking about bunnies.
Bunnies!
How many of you remember the Disney Bunnies line of merch from like 10 years ago? And that ringing a vague bell out there at all?
Vague.
Okay.
I remembered it as being something totally different. I remembered it as being a bunch of the different Disney rabbits, like White Rabbit and stuff, but actually it wasn't, was it?
No, it was zeroed in on Thumper from Disney's Bambi. And Thumper was voiced by Peter Ben,
Yeah.
who interesting
And
guy to talk to
This
now.
the story about how he got hired. Do you remember it?
Nope.
He was just going to be one of the random bunnies. But there wasn't going to be any Thumper. It was just going to be the random bunnies. And they brought Peter Ben in.
Yep.
And he's like, "Did the young prince fall down?" And they were like, "Oh, we have to have that voice."
So if you talk with him now, because he did this when he was 4, to hear him talk, it's like all he remembers of going into the recording booth is the person would read him the line with the inflection they wanted him to give, and he just parroted it back. It's like,
Nice.
okay. And then, in 1942, he goes and sees the movie, and it's like, oh, that's my voice. Now, he's a guy in his 70s who is delighted to be interviewed, but can't remember a damn thing. It's just sort of like, I was 4. I think I remember it was a room with a mic. And
then Walt says to me, he says, "What do you think I should do with this Anaheim property?" And I
there
says,
you go.
"Walt," I said.
Yeah, so. yeah, I've interviewed a few of those guys. Okay.
Mickey Rooney.
Yeah. Why don't you call him Mickey? Anyway. Thumper was the breakout character from that animated film. Bambi never got a walk-around character at the Disney parks, of
That
course.
would have been
the obvious-
awkward as hell.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you remember the
Would you
what
want
is
to
it,
be the cast member in the back?
Well, that's the thing. The 2-person Pluto that they borrowed from the Ice Capades for the
Oh
opening of
my God, that
Disneyland.
thing was horrifying.
Yeah, mostly looked like a camel. So I would imagine doing Bambi wasn't going to work. But on the other hand, in 62, as part of the Bill Justice new set of characters that were created for the park, we got a Thumper and a Flower. In fact, if you want to see him in action, folks, go on YouTube and look for the Disneyland 10th Anniversary TV special. Aired on NBC back in January of 1965. And 15 minutes and 15 seconds in, you have Thumper and Flower coming down one of those side paths next to the Sleeping Beauty Castle. And interesting looking, not as scary as the giant Scotty dogs, but that's another story. Thumper was happening in the 1960s.
Oh, yeah.
66, is that when the Storyteller, Disneyland Storyteller album came out? The story of Thumper's Great Race? This is basically what?
66.
A reinvention of the Aesop fable, right? The tortoise and the hare?
Yeah. Well, or the Disney classic cartoon. Toby the Tortoise
Yeah.
and Max the Hare.
In fact, I think that's who he runs against, Toby Tortoise, in this thing. Now, what's fascinating about the story of Thumper's Great Race is that there were 2 songs in this thing. You can't say something nice, say nothing, and it's so nice on the ice, that are written by Richard M. and Robert B. Sherman.
Okay, why do you think that's weird? I mean, they were the house band.
But it's 1966. These guys have literally, think about it, they're writing this movie or music for this Storyteller album. Gotta be 1965 if it's coming out in 1966. Okay? They have literally just won the Academy Award. All right? They've stood there in front of their peers. Didn't they take home 2? It was for Best Song and Best Score.
Yeah.
You're at the height of your careers, and you show up to work, and it's like, hey, we need a song for the stupid rabbit record that we're putting out through Disneyland Storytellers, and wouldn't that be a little bit of a come down?
But it wasn't that. It was, we need your magic for this delightful Storyteller album that millions of kiddies are going to hear. Because did the Sherman Brothers ever do anything half-assed?
Boy, you are really putting me on the spot. Look, a big dog with a big fluffy tail.
Like a dog with a man's face.
There we go. We're changing the subject here. Hey, now getting back to Thumper, we jump ahead to the 1980s. And again, this is a character the company really wants to try to do some other stuff with. Mm-hmm. So it's the Disney Afternoon is out there, the syndicated animated block of animated shows. And they developed a Thumper's Thicket show which I have no idea where that would go. I mean, just literally, it's like, okay, so they go into the thorns and there are other rabbits hanging out there, and what's episode 2? On the other hand, the show that they developed at the exact same time that I really wish they put into development was Maximum Horsepower.
Oh, I know, with Horace Horsecollar.
There we go. This is one of my favorite projects that Disney never put into production. It has this wonderful premise that it's, again, think about it. Horace Horsecollar is in all of the early Mickey shorts, and then, what is it, the late 30s or thereabouts, he disappears. He's just gone. And it's like, what became of him? And the conceit of this animated television show was that Horace was tired of being Mickey's sidekick. And so he's found out that Mickey is auditioning for The Sorcerer's Apprentice, that he's going to work with Leopold Stokowski. They're going to make a whole movie around him. And it's like, and Horace is just infuriated. It's like, how come I didn't get into this audition? How come I didn't get the shot? And so he's stomping across the Disney lot. He's headed to go meet with Walt.
I suddenly understand so much more about BoJack Horseman.
And so what happens is the UFO appears over the Burbank lot and sucks Horace up, and then blasts across the universe. And so Horace is now on the other side of the galaxy, and he just wants to get back to Disney to make animated cartoons. But the thing is that these are aliens who were looking for a hero, and evidently they had, in kind of a Galaxy's Quest kind of a thing, they had seen the short where Horace pretends that he's the weightlifter. And it's like, we need a really strong guy. That guy. Let's get that guy to battle. No. And that's the thing. So it's an actor on the other side of the universe who has to pretend to be this hero. And so again, it was Galaxy Quest before there was a Galaxy's Quest, starring Horace Horsecollar.
No good idea ever dies at Disney.
Okay, Disney Plus, guys, you heard it here. Go dig out the files. And I think call Tad Stones. I think he actually worked on this.
What did you think of the Disney Plus pricing announcement?
$6.99? Did I hear that correctly?
Yeah. Yeah, and the day after, I think it may have recovered a little now, but Netflix's stock took a dive and Disney stock took a jump.
Yeah, but again, that was Friday. Let's see what happens on Monday.
Yeah, let's see what happens Monday.
Yeah, but back to Bambi. Okay, so Bambi, because it's the 1990s and the 2000s, and this is what the Walt Disney Company does, Walt Disney Studios Home Entertainment produces Bambi 2. It's a mid-quel because it happens in the middle of the movie.
Is that like Lion King 1.5?
Something to that effect.
Okay.
Anyway, what ends up happening is that this movie gets released theatrically in 2006 down in South America and is released Blu-ray, DVD, the whole schmear, February of that same year. And of course, now back up the truck, Disney Press, because this is what Disney does. It's like, all right, we need some books to support the release of Bambi 2. So they bring in these two writers-illustrators, Laura Driscoll and Kitty Richards. And it's like, okay, can you develop something? And interesting thing is they go off and work and they come back to Disney Press and say, okay, we can do what you asked, but we have a counter proposal. Just back in 2001, Disney launched Disney Princesses, and it's become this huge franchise. Now, just last year, 2005, you launched Disney Fairies with what is the name of that book? Oh, Fairy Dust and the Quest for the Egg. And already that's shaping up to be
Speaking of Easter.
Big time. There we go. But that's shaping up to be a big franchise for the company. So we think that Disney Bunnies could be the next big franchise. And not, as you mentioned, that the notion of White Rabbit with Rabbit from
Boo
and Roger Rabbit and all that. Just no, we focus in on this character Thumper. And Disney Press, to its credit, listens because they're looking at their product line and they recognize that they have a specific hole.
A rabbit hole.
Well, they want this rabbit hole to engage toddlers, the 4 to 8 crowd who are just beginning to read. And it's kind of fascinating the way Disney Press does this. They deliberately build franchises and lines of product so they overlap. I mean, the idea is that Disney Bunnies appeals to readers 4 to 8.
Preschool to elementary.
Yeah, then Disney Princesses, on the other hand, that's really aimed at an audience from 7 to 10-year-old girls. And then when they age up out of that group,
They're tweens.
well, 9 to 12-year-old, that's the specific group. That's when they're supposedly interested in Disney fairies. So in theory, you have this smooth transition of a kid starts reading, learns to read, doing the Disney Bunnies,
Yeah.
transitions to the Disney Princesses, and
Then fairies, and then High School
reads the
Musical.
fairies, and then it's straight into 50 Shades of Grey.
No, Descendants.
There we go. Oh, even better. We are looking at this line, which is built around a rambunctious little boy bunny, but we want this to appeal to girls because we want them to go from Disney bunnies to Disney princesses to Disney fairies, which is how Thumper ends up with 4 little sisters, Trixie, Daisy, Rhea, and Tessie. And then to bring this whole thing full circle, folks, so they're looking for the right way to bring this book out. They're looking for the right path in. And what they decide to do is the inaugural title, I Love You, My Bunnies. And again, they announce this as a new line aimed at toddlers. And they create a story where Thumper and his sisters are making a special gift for their mama. They're making a basket filled with flowers. And Disney, not missing a trick here, brings this book out January 15th, 2007, and deliberately positions it so it's available for purchase at Easter, which is April 8th of that year, and also on Mother's Day, which is just a few weeks later on May 13th. And then from there, it's just sort of like they also put out 2 other books in this period. They put out a Thumper Fluffy Tail book. So again, that's exactly what it is. It's
Is it like Pat the Bunny?
Yes, that's it exactly.
Okay.
The Disney calls it a feel and touch book, and they have Thumper Finds a Friend. Then in 2008, they put Thumper's Scary Night Out. They put out Thumper's Summer Day. 2 more, another year goes by, and we have Thumper Finds an Egg, which again, positioning it for Easter. They also create a board book with sliding windows called Good Morning Thumper.
Oh, that sounds cute.
Yeah, but by 2010, we're 4 years in at this point, and Disney's press enthusiasm for the Bunnies line is obviously beginning to wane. So we get only 1 book released that year, and once again, it's another touch and feel book. It's Thumper's Furry Friends. In 2011, hoping to maybe, let's try something different, they actually do a Disney Bunnies sing-along song play-around sounds book. But the problem is, in the same window of time, Disney's launching the Disney Babies line, and they've actually created a standalone Disney Baby store. And it's kind of a thing where, like, look, nothing personal. I think this is a wonderful idea, but we're reallocating resources. We're thinking, rather than one line focusing on toddlers, we're thinking globally about Disney Babies. The next year we get a Disney Bunnies, Thumper counts to 10, but by now this is really, this line is really more focused on being a Target and a Walmart exclusive. And from here we just continue to chug 1 title a year. 2013 we get Disney Bunnies A Day with Papa. 2014 we get another.
Oh, so you finally see Papa. What did your father tell you?
Well, see, now that I hadn't thought of that. So yes, after all these years, finally,
Ta-da.
The answer we've been looking for. What Thumper's dad looks like.
I think he looks like a rabbit.
I think that's probably a good answer. Jumping ahead, we get a board book, Thumper Goes Thumpin'. We get another touch and feel book, Thumper and the Noisy Ducks, which includes the label Fuzzy Ducks and Bunnies inside.
Oh.
Which line pretty much runs out of gas by 2015. Though the interesting thing is that just recently, a number of these Disney Bunnies books have now been repurposed for the Chinese market as part of the Disney English Centers. Have you heard about this?
Okay. Yeah.
This actually started back in September of 2008. In fact, it was supposedly part of the sort of lead up to the Shanghai Disneyland Park. The idea is that Disney created these English language training centers for young learners. Typically, the kids in the classes are from age 2 to 12. And so what they did is, again, remember, this is a group of books that was created for toddlers. So I want to say as recently as 2018, they started putting the books out. In fact, I just came across today a copy of Thumper Finds an Egg, which is part of their World of Reading series. It's got a level 1 book. But the idea is that it's being used to teach people in China how to read English. And I guess...
And how to love Disney. Just like they do in America.
See, now that's what I find kind of ironic about this whole situation, because here is Thumper teaching them to read the English language. And what the company is really hoping is that by the time these kids, are now proficient in English, what they're doing is now nagging their parents to take them to Shanghai Disneyland. So
got it.
By then, they can then go hang out with another rabbit, which will be Judy Hopps, which will be part of the Zootopia land. But again, we don't have an opening date on Zootopia yet. They announced it again January of this year, so no idea when the land actually opens. On the other hand, this show is closing. So, Michelle, if people are looking to, if they've enjoyed listening to you today, where else can they find you around the web?
They can find me at Mice Chat, and they can find me on the Pink Monorail podcast that I do with our daughter Alice, and they can find me here. And if they want their house designed, they can email me, Shelley@jimhillmedia.com. I do themed design.
Before I forget, though, I wanted to applaud the folks over at Mice Chat. How did you guys ever get Brady McDonald to come over? I was just sort of startled to see the story that he did this past week about Galaxy's Edge. It was great piece, but it's like, I've been following his work at
charms
Funland.
No boundaries.
It's a really great find, folks, and you should definitely go check out his stories over at Mice Chat. Now, speaking of other stuff to check out, over on my side of the fence, we got the Disney Dish podcast I do with Len Testo. We have the Fine Tuning podcast that I do with Drew Taylor. Likewise, looking at Lucasfilm. And
boy, looking at Lucasfilm's going to be good this upcoming episode, isn't it?
I hope so. I'm hoping Dan's all over Star Wars Celebration in Chicago, so I really, really, really hope he comes back.
I'm looking forward to listening.
Me too. We also have the Marvel Us Disney podcast. Then, of course, the show you're listening to today. So please head over to iTunes and rate and recommend their shows. Go over to Bandcamp and subscribe to these shows. And okay, I guess that does it for our Easter show. And we'll be back soon with a brand new show.
This episode is brought to you by LifeLock. It's Cybersecurity Awareness Month, and LifeLock has tips to protect your identity. Use strong passwords, set up multi-factor authentication, report phishing, and update the software on your devices. And for comprehensive identity protection, let LifeLock alert you to suspicious uses of your personal information. LifeLock also fixes identity theft, guaranteed or your money back. Stay smart, safe, and protected with a 30-day free trial at LifeLock.com/podcast. Terms apply.